Timelines. What are timelines? I made a post recently about a big shift in timelines that is happening right now in the month of February. And I had many comments about that and questions as well. Many of you wondering, what are timelines? I think that's a fantastic question, and I'm here today to address that. Because even to understand the astrology and everything that's going on, we have to understand the concept of timelines. Timelines is our point of choice. This is what this journey is all about. Choice. Free will. That's how we explore ourselves. That's how we evolve. It's through the choices we make. So timelines are very important to understand. And I am here today with two of my favorite friends in the whole world to talk about this. Kierra, who lives in Colorado and is here visiting Sedona. She is a master everything. What are you? You're like a teacher, a healer, You want to introduce yourself a little?
Sure. Hi everybody, my name is Kierra King, and I'm a multidimensional energy worker, seer. I train healers and psychics all over the world and specialize in teaching you about your multidimensional gifts and bringing them out into the world in a way that is purposeful and powerful for you and others.
Yeah, Kierra's truly amazing. I mean, I could make a whole video about her. But synchronistically, she was planning on visiting right when I released that post, and I got all these questions coming in, and I said, you know what? Perfect time to address timelines. This is like a master teacher of these types of things. And I said, Kierra, do you want to make a video with me where you just help me explain this? And we have my other amazing friend here who is a wisdom keeper, truly. Matthews has been involved in this world of codes and mysteries and solving all these mysteries for years now. And if I had a hat right now, I'd take off my hat here to him. Matthews, talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I've been on my awakening path for about 33 years, and during that time I've been downloading a lot of hidden wisdom. I wrote 3 books on the subject about cracking the creation codes, and I also have a background in behind the scenes as an insider with new financial systems and the like. You might have caught some of my deep disclosure. So yeah, between the 7th seal content and deep disclosure, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, so I think I feel pretty safe here with these two. I think between us 3, we got a pretty good talk on timelines. So let's get started. I think that, do you get asked about timelines and what they are? How do you start explaining to someone who has no idea what a timeline is? Like, what's it like an introduction to even what we're going to talk about, and then how to navigate it, how to choose from it?
Yeah. I do get asked about timelines, and I think that I'd like to start with the basic concept of, have you ever in your life experienced, like, or had the knowing or woken up to, oh my gosh, I'm in a cycle? Like, I'm repeating something over and over. And maybe you start to catch on. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm attracting the same relationship over and over. Or I'm having this health issue over and over. If we go deeper into that, we have the curiosity and the question, why, right? Why is this happening? So if we start with that concept of maybe there's a cycle happening in our life, how do we make our way out of that? Well, the way to do that is to, 1, cultivate curiosity, and 2, access your own personal timeline that is connected to the collective consciousness. And what I love about Raquel's work, I like to explain this as like it's like astrology. I'm not an astrologer, she's the master. but there's cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. And when we start to catch on to with our own intuition and knowingness, we can open up to catching our own higher timelines that assist us coming out of breaking through those cycles.
So timelines, would timelines be different possibilities within a specific context? Because astrology will always point to a specific context. So we know that this last year we've been in a very pivotal moment here of humanity and history. So with the alignments alone, and my work is through astrology, so I just map out these very mathematical openings, very precise openings that we have to experience a certain context. So if these openings and this context is already laid out before us in a way predetermined, right? Then how do timelines come in if it's already predetermined? You know, so how does that work?
Sure. So I just want to give you guys some of my background. In 2003, I started consciously seeing intergalactic timelines that would affect the Earth and humanity's consciousness. And so a lot about like what I like to speak on around timelines is how we can access and break through what is consistently shaping the time-space continuum for our freedom, okay? And so intergalactically, we have a cosmic consciousness that's weaving through the star system, and then it moves into the planet, which affects our consciousness. And so there's these different threads of opportunities that we always have access to. So even though something could be predetermined, we can ascend out of what is predetermined in a way, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So what exactly are timelines? If you have any insight, just feel free to interject as well. But so now that we have like the basic understanding, just like a little introduction, how do we really understand, like someone that doesn't know what a timeline is, what does it mean? Is it like a parallel probability that you're...
So let me interject with this then. Anybody ever have a deja vu? So deja vu, in my experience, is I'm sleeping, I'm in my dream state, I'm sampling reality choices. Each choice is a fork in the road. And so a deja vu for me occurs when I make the highest probable choice. It's my higher self and my whole guidance system saying yes, yes, yes. And you know, the attraction of, oh my God, I had a time where I remembered 20 minutes of a deja vu. I knew it was going to happen for 20 minutes, and it was my highest probable timeline. This is when I took a trip to Egypt, and all these amazing things happened from that trip.
Wow.
But so that's one way of looking at it. You know, everything is malleable in reality. Our thoughts manifest our reality, so therefore, what are we focused upon? And, you know, the conscious choice of our highest path is reflective of it.
So would you say that a deja vu is the experience of going from timeline to timeline?
Yeah, it's in your dream state while you're sleeping. You're sampling out probable realities. You're dreaming them into manifestation. But it's the conscious choice of choosing the choices that take you to that timeline that's affirmed by your higher self remembering the dream. And you may not be remembering that you're remembering the dream, but this is familiar, and that's because it's being reinforced as your highest timeline.
So how does that apply to where we're at today? We're in a very crucial time right now of history where every choice matters, every thought matters, every emotion matters. And whereas, you know, logically, it's always been like that, we're at a time right now where it matters more than ever. And we're having these points throughout the month and the months. And of course, the astrological configurations support some of these openings more than others. And these are where we come in with the collective choices we're making, and that propels us into the next timeline that we're creating, right? So how is that fitting into where we're at now, like with COVID, right? We were talking about that, like So how do we get into the timeline that we're not experiencing masks and COVID and all of that?
Okay, well, for me, it's based on collective consciousness. And I say timelines are malleable. There are those in the shadow opposition that know they're malleable, and they're getting a collective agreement that we're subservient to their choice. Their choice is to influence mask on us. We don't participate in that reality, and the more people that choose awakening their avatar or divine consciousness will shift and flip that so that they don't manifest what they're trying to get everybody to believe. One thing that supports this is, many of you may know about the Mandela effect. And what that says is that Mandela was in prison and died in the timeline I'm from. And you may remember that he actually got out of prison and became the president of South Africa. Many people are remembering different timelines, which is a demonstration that there's multiple probable realities playing out, and the collective agreement to have the highest probable reality is what collapses all the other timelines into that one, and it becomes a unity timeline. So the first time I became aware of this, maybe was, say, 7 years ago, and I was drawing some artwork, and I had the TV on in the background, and the anchor was like, yes, all the 50 states. And I was like, what do you mean 50 states? There's 52 states in America. What? They didn't go to school? They don't know that? And many of you might be thinking, no, there's 50. Well, which is it? Okay, so there's 100 different things where people remember a different reality. And is it just that you're not remembering right, or is it changed? Like Braggs is another one. Isn't that spelt with an S on the end? Nope, not anymore.
Wow.
Go look it up, find out for yourself. And the Bible's changing, so all these things are malleable. Timelines are certainly malleable, but it's by the collective decision. So do we decide that we're in a golden age reality where everybody is waking up to their divine consciousness and embodying their higher self with superpowers, or are we subservient?
Right, and I think it's a process too. It's not like one day we're just going to wake up and boom, we're in this, miraculous situation where we're all like living happily ever after. It's something that we are gradually understanding about our reality, which enables us to own our power as creators. So even this concept of being aware of timelines, I mean, this is the very first step. Once we're aware of it, then we start to notice the shifts in reality, or the shifts in from day to day. We can notice this change, and that assists us with our evolution because we start to understand more about our capacity to create, right? I know you teach a lot about timelines. You talk a lot about timelines in your videos, and especially now the times we're in. I mean, part of your job is to help people make the conscious choices for these timelines that we're creating.
I really appreciate how Methuis said, something to the effect of, it's a collective choice. So, first, personally, my opinion is humanity, every single one of us, we need to get on board together. I'm sure right now we might be thinking, okay, well, what can this do for me, right? Yeah, but what can it do for you to access your higher self, your higher consciousness, and then assist your brothers and sisters, right? So when we look at the whole, we collectively have an opportunity to not only cultivate the awareness, but be active in changing ourselves so that way we can contribute to the ascension of humanity. And that is the goal here. This is what a lot of my personal work and others all over the world, what we're trying to share with you is to get on board. We have massive opportunities to change how we are living, how we are interacting, how we are communicating, how we are sharing love and our breath and everything that is vital to one another. And every single one of us, at the end of the day, we want the same things. We want healthy bodies. We want wellness. We want beautiful relationships. We want to live on this planet thriving with life. We don't want to see death and destruction anymore. And this is the reason why why the cosmic consciousness, why we have these timelines, to not only wake us up, but do something about it. And we must, again, become aware, but put it into practice. So when Methuselah speaks about our higher self, right? What can we do every single day to access the higher timeline? So there are timelines within timelines, okay? Like cycles within cycles. So there's humanity, to my understanding, is basically what we're phasing out of 3. We're in 2 timelines right now. You have a choice to get on board, okay? We have a choice to get on board every single day. Mind, body, soul, spirit, physical body, active presence, okay? Make the conscious choice. You live intuitively. Allow the mind to continue to expand and drop into the heart consciousness. You already know the way. We know the way. We must join in that collective network. What I mean by collective network is your embodied soul and higher self consciousness that you always have access to. Always. And those higher timelines are consistently speaking to you. It's a choice to, 1, listen and act, because every single time you act, you take yourself out of duality and you access that higher timeline for yourself, for your benefit, and for the benefit of all.
Beautiful. And I feel like I want to one more time just summarize and explain what timelines are so we can understand how to do this. And you please help me out here. I've never...
Well, thoughts manifest timelines. I mean, it is that simple.
Right,
you know,
but what is a timeline? So I think it's like this simultaneous a choice that it's happening, because like time is not linear. We were born to believe that, you know, time is linear. There's a beginning and there's an end, and then we take steps until we get there. But to my understanding, timelines are, you know, even as we're born and we start this physical journey, there are parallel lives that are just as equal as a possibility that are happening simultaneously with that birth, with that first step, with the first words that come out of the baby. There's all these parallel that go together. So it's not like a beginning and an end. It's just many different ones together. And so with every choice, like you were saying in the beginning, right? Every choice you make, you can jump from here to there.
Probable realities. So there are multiple realities existing simultaneously. I had an experience with this guy that I call a cosmic scientist. He was like a time traveler. And he said that there's superimposed transdimensional realities that exist right now in this space. They're just at the subatomic level. There's these planktons, and their frequency is just so minutely different that you exist in each one of these places almost directly superimposed over this one. Like I might be somewhere else, I'm not in the park in the other one, but it's you. And he was telling me there's 7 of them, and that they were collapsing together as we went through these portals of awakening, these gates, these star alignments, where the central sun is beaming us with, you know, and our sun is beaming us with more photons, waking us up. You know, light is consciousness, vibration is consciousness, it's all one and the same. Mm-hmm. And so as all of this awakens us, we're collapsing into one unity timeline, one unity reality. So all the probable realities that do not hold the highest frequency dissolve away. And so, again, the opposition has known that you get a collective belief that we're all, you know, failing, or we're all under submission, or we're all whatever, then you're going to beat to that, you know, drum. You need to follow your heart. That drum beat right there is the one that you're manifesting. And the more we all collectively agree that we're manifesting a divine unity timeline, a golden age, then that's what we're experiencing. So it is a tricky subject, you know, because it's a multidimensional one. It's really, you know, goes back to this thing. Am I the dreamer, or am I, you know, awake? Which is it, right? You know, when I go to sleep, do I wake up, or am I fully awake now? Is there a higher dimensional reality self? You know, yes, there is. There's multiple dimensional realities where you're involved in all of those realities on those levels. So it's really just a matter of having a deeper appreciation for what's called the eternal now moment. You know, it's the headquarters for all of your consciousness. and you can access it in the present moment. And that's where, those choices are so critical.
So even us sitting here right now, it's amazing because depending on the little choices we make, even subconscious, and oh, do we go here? Do we go to eat afterwards? Do we go straight home? Like each one is actually helping shape the next timeline that we're choosing to experience, So to me, this is really about being aware at every moment, just being aware. It's not about like being scared or am I right, am I wrong, or it's not about that. It's just about being aware. Okay, now I'm sitting here. Now I'm getting up. Now I am, thinking about this. And as you become aware of these stages of your day to day, you can start to observe how these choice points, they present themselves to you. And as you become aware of it, then you can start consciously choosing. No, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go home. That's where you start to develop your intuition and listen to yourself more instead of just running on automatic. Like, oh, now it's time to go eat dinner, so I'm gonna go home. You know what I mean? So as we start to develop this more aware state of being, we start to become more conscious creators. And I think that that's what it's all about. We start to own our power. And as we do that, we also realize that we are no longer children, right? So eventually the choices we make, they must support the unity consciousness. If we are to move forward, if we are to start taking that next step in creating the experiences and the new earth energies that we're bringing, this is really about understanding the concept of unity.
And embodying the sovereign truth, your sovereign truth, that no one's doing anything to you. Your experiences are attracting your reality. So there's no victims in this, story. You don't get mad at people in your dream, like, why were they chasing me? You just realize that you created all that. That was your dream. This is your dream right here. You're wide awake with the sovereign power to make decisions based out of your heart. And so as long as you do that, and that heart is pure, and you aspire to a higher level of divine purity to help humanity, you're, creating a positive timeline.
So is it true, do we have a timeline that we're like destruction timeline? That this world, like, because like, every once in a while I hear like, like people talking about we're heading into this catastrophe or the end of the world and like all these different scenarios. And I mean, I can't help but wonder, is that a timeline? What does that mean? Is it a possibility that we really are going to destroy ourselves?
It's trying to enjoin people to a belief. It's trying to create fear that you attract that outcome. There are those oppositional forces that want to, have a negative outcome. And so when you go into fear and you watch the news and you believe, the presentation that's not real, then you're making it real.
So we can go in and out of so we can just through our fear, we can be in the timeline of destruction for 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, and then we could just go back to the other timeline.
Change in the twinkling of an eye. We can wake up and embrace our divine self in the twinkling of an eye. But yeah, it's a practice, isn't it? To really sit in that sovereign place of power and know that no one can do anything to you. You're not even this body. You're a conscious field outside of the physical form. And so embracing and embodying all the wisdom is, the high road.
I'd like to share, based upon what Raquel just mentioned, is as a cosmic timeline reader, in contribution to humanity for our collective ascension, that I have seen, I do not share this at all to scare you. That is not the intention here, but to inform. Last October, I'm just going to go straight into channeling right now. Last October, we're still trying to phase out. Humanity was not raising their heart consciousness or their mind consciousness, and so we dipped a little bit. All right. And then, as Matthias was saying, you know, we must stay in the heart and rise. And Raquel was saying we can go in and out. We can. It's very true. And so we did dip down a little bit. We lowered our collective vibration. Okay. And we're trying to do an uplift. We're still playing out. It started about the 26th of January, where we're trying to do this uplift again. So if you're calling on more help, all right, that's coming. However, you have to be active, present. And so I did start to see, okay, humanity's not making it. Humanity's not making it. I did do a video. I'm like, come on, you guys, come on. Like, we have to uplift and continue to go. At the same time, all right, there is also the equal opposite trying to come in. All right, so those of you who are light workers, star seeds, ascended beings who are present, thank you for your work. You guys are the one, like, literally helping keep us uplifted, all right? Keeping Gaia doing these little, I call them pull-ups, like she'll pull up out of another timeline. But when we drop our consciousness, she descends again. That's not okay. So we're a part of her. And so these timelines playing out right now, I am seeing that we are starting to, I call it a glitch. We're starting to glitch into the higher timeline, but it's like all hands on board. And so there are parallels, and they do weave together, okay? And this negative, I don't like to use good and bad or positive negative, but this negative, destructive, or 3D timeline can easily be dissolved. Easily, very quick. Because the consciousness on our planet is so high right now, it's just up to us to realize, not mentally, but full body. And so these timelines, this can phase out easily, the negative one. And this higher timeline, personally, we can all connect to it, and then we're in that collective unity consciousness that we're here to experience.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful. And so, bringing it to where we are at today, I always like to do that. Let's get practical here. Let's get to what really matters. We're here today. So what does that mean for us today? Well, I've been talking extensively about the timeline shifts that we're in now. So we have these moments, okay, and astrological alignments are amazing to understand about, like, these portals. We have these portals that are more energized certain days and certain moments, and that's a big part of your work, is to study these encoded portals and so forth. So astrology shows when we have these very significant moments that we're going to go through a timeline shift collectively, individually as well. So I map these out through astrology, and it's just interesting to notice the correlation also with your work and the messages you receive that are so in alignment with the astrology. But this month of February, we're going through a massive timeline shift. And what this means, you know, we've had many of these points, but this is another crucial moment that is going to lead into the threshold. I've been talking about this threshold that we are going to have at spring. Spring, we go through a collective threshold where astrologically, you know, the things calm down a little. And this is not over by any means, okay? We are in the beginning of a Pluto return to the country, here for the country, and that's a big deal. So it's not over by any means, but we are at a crucial stage where we are ready to go into the next cycle. Because we've been going through this for a whole year of, you know, the whole COVID, the whole thing around this transition that we're in. And so right now, the month of February, we're having, astrologically, we're having this portal where we are shifting into the next timeline. Now, which timeline? I don't know, man. You tell me. Like, what are we creating here? What are we creating here? So this is to me the sum total accumulation of the choices we've made this last year, the emotions that we've chosen to experience, and the way that this has all been speaking to us, the way that we've grown through it all, and the way that we've evolved already. I mean, even if you look at your life from last year to now, it's like the work we've done, it's like 5-10 years worth of work. It's amazing. So the timeline shift that we are here at today is going to be the result of these choices, these lessons learned, and the stage of evolution that we're in right now and ready to experience next. So that's what I see with the astrology, and I'm curious as to your perspective as what do you feel as far as the energetics around this timeline shift and, where we're heading, I guess? Is that even right to ask?
As you're speaking, going back to the last three weeks of December, and maybe you experienced this in your own way. Maybe the heart opening and maybe emotions coming out, and
so much
and
heart
just
opening,
like a death and rebirth, and I'm feeling and seeing. In the same right that's the preparation. That was the preparation work.
Oh wow!
For the month, this upcoming month.
So just a second. So what you're saying is that all the pain that we've been going through, all the aha moments, the realizations, and all these crazy heart openings that have been happening have actually been preparing us for what's next? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's an example of, like, sometimes, like, when we personally experience like a breakdown, that breakdown to break through, that breaking down, that decomposition of what was keeping us fixated and stagnant, right? January, we've been working that out. Maybe we're starting to gain a little bit more clarity, and boom, February. There's a breakthrough for you coming.
So I guess the astrological shift, that it's this breakthrough that you're saying, like the because there's a very clear astrological, like, boom, before spring, after spring, there's a very definite change of energy.
So as I'm looking right now, so I'm seeing, and I don't know about the astrology, so I mean, you guys, we haven't talked, so I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, but I'm seeing the 3rd, there's a beginning, and then around the 16th through the 19th. The 19th is also connected between the 20th and the 24th. The 24th, 25th, that's really when everything begins to materialize through these breakthroughs, okay? As far as cosmic energy, what I'm seeing is influencing. So yes, as Methuselah spoke earlier, we have the central sun, who is, that is influencing a lot of the plasma energy, or those solar codes that are assisting. But then the plasma energy, it also affects the entire galaxy and star system. And so I'm seeing Venus, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, that's working with, I don't know if it's a moon. Oh, interesting. Maybe we can't see it. But there's it's like a moon that's connected with Venus. So there's some sort of connection here. And then I'm also seeing some sort of stimulation in the planet of Jupiter that's going to also affect the bottom of our pole on planet Earth. So that I guess South Pole.
So does that mean that the planets are assisting us with this?
Yes.
Or they're working together? Like, are we all going through this together?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, like, Pluto and Venus and all these things,
think about it as maybe like the primary colors: red, blue, and yellow. It takes red and blue to make purple, right? Same thing, same concept. These energies weave together, and they have an influence. I think through astrology, it has an influence on our psyche, right? And so same thing in concept. But yes, there's more at play here.
Wow.
I think it's also important to realize that you are a multidimensional being. You have other higher dimensional selves. So you don't just exist in one timeline or one reality or one dimension or one anything. You, as you tap more into your avataric higher divine self, have an awareness that you're, let's say, on Venus, or you're on Jupiter. You're in other solar systems. You're everywhere because you are part of the creator consciousness that created everything. And having said that, it's almost like what's playing out here is that the parents of all creation went, wow, their children are out of control. There's races warring in different dimensions, and we need to take a little smidgen of every aspect of that story and put it into a melting pot called planet Earth, where everybody's working out their differences and becoming more in the higher, finer vibration of unity and love. And so as we do that, it affects the entire creation. And so there are aspects of ourself in every dimensional reality that is this is like looking on at the most important moment in all of creation. And so your higher self, dimensional self, is wanting to communicate with you, wanting you to become, this super hero self, this version where you get to make the choice with all of us that are awakening to the golden age to become the story that echoes through creation, that we unified, that we treated the emotional body as the key to everything. So when you master the emotional body, that's when you really have access to your higher dimensional spiritual, wisdoms. It's from not being reactive. It's from taking a breath and choosing what your words are when you're in a heated moment. It's from, mastering that you get to decide what your collective choice is. Your collective choice, along with all your higher dimensional selves, wants to become the greatest version of yourself. And that's done in every second with every breath. And so choose wisely.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's a great way to bring it all together here. And I feel like this is just a whole other topic that we can make a whole other video about. There's
a lot to be said
so
on the
much,
subject.
yeah, for sure. But I think that was perfect that you said that, because it just brings it all together. And I think that, to me, it's really about just being more aware of who we are, what we all are part of. And to me, even this whole scenario that we are experiencing right now, it just all boils down to being more aware. It's all about, the more aware we are, the more we can start making conscious choices and become more empowered, taking responsibility, continue our creation process, right? It's absolutely perfect the way it's unfolding and happening. And so instead of being the victim to the situation, we're looking at the situation as an opportunity for us to expand in awareness. And that brings meaning to everything. It brings beauty to the process. So I don't know if you have any final words that you want to add here, but I feel like this is very much about just increasing our awareness in general. Being aware, I think being aware is the first step. And just being aware, because I know right now there are many of you that have like a million questions, right? And I actually want to welcome and invite those questions to come in, because it's a great opportunity for us to expand on this more. But don't go bananas over this, and don't lose your sanity over trying to count timelines and understand, well, I think that being aware is the first step. Becoming aware of the reality, not taking things for granted, not taking your words and your thoughts and your choices for granted, because every moment you are choosing the next timeline that you're experiencing. And if you're in a timeline that you're not happy with, hey, it's not the end of the world. You're not stuck there forever. So being aware is really the first step, and so crucial to this whole thing. And then as you become aware, you just start to notice. You start to notice, and as you notice, that becomes information. That's how you learn more about it, through your own experiences of it. But being aware is the first step. So
we've been powwowing also about what we can design and craft that'll be more helpful for, assisting you in next steps. Mm-hmm. And we have been planning different things that will do that. For some of you that may not know about my activation tool, I have a little one in my pocket here. There are different things that we all have. Well, it might have fallen out of my pocket.
Oh, well, good thing I have this then.
That's the symbol. The seventh seal symbol is a sacred geometry shape that I channeled when I was 26. But it has a bunch of other, with the activator tool, it has a bunch of other numbers and sequences and information around it. And it can accelerate your awakening. It'll work with you at the level that you're ready, but it's a very, very powerful tool, not to be underestimated. Mm-hmm. You tried the new one today.
Yeah, I must say, Methuis, thank you. Yeah, I tried one of the new tools.
Oh, I found it.
Oh,
this one. Yep, this was a little tiny seal on both sides, and you put it between your palms like this and bring it into your heart chakra. That was it.
Yeah, and so even right now, those of you especially who are very sensitive, you might feel it right away. So right now I'm experiencing the chakras in my hands that are absorbing the coding. The energy is moving straight through my arms, into my shoulder blades, through the back of my heart. There's 2 spirals opening the back of my heart, and it's going to open my heart, and I can understand that I am blocking myself from receiving, and this tool right now is personally helping me through the 3rd up to the 8th dimension and opening my heart frequency.
Yeah, I want to invite you guys that want to know more about their work. I mean, both of them, they're absolutely amazing. And Kierra King has her own, line of work with this, and she helps people develop their abilities, their gifts. We all have some. You have yours, and her job is to help you develop your gifts. And it's not your everyday average coach, or how do you call yourself anyway?
We can say mentor.
Yeah, she's a mentor, yeah. And so I definitely invite you to check out her work. The link is going to be included on the description of this video. And Methuse's work as well, the link is going to be there too. I know I've already done another video with him, and a lot of you are familiar already with him, with his work, but definitely check out some of what he's been up to, because his wisdom is incredible. And I have a lot of respect for your tools, your work, your books.
Thank you.
And we will be back with more
It's
information.
time to rise and shine. Everybody needs to step it up. So,
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
yep, we're here to help, and
Yeah.
reach out. Lots of love.
Yes. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us in this timeline. Thank you for being here with us in this timeline. And as we become more aware, we get to co-create our timelines together, consciously. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, thank you. Lots of love.
Many blessings.